We've always had the ability to have private conversations. Meet someone face to face and make sure no one's in earshot, and you'd usually be good to go. But these days it's more difficult because most of our conversations have become digital. Not only are there more people in earshot with digital communication, but we often leave a permanent record of these conversations for anyone to look back on because we don't talk. We text.
You can't call anybody anymore. We've all decided that we are never gonna answer our phones again.
In this new world, some of our most sensitive exchanges are happening essentially through a megaphone, through companies that can intercept our messages, and by broadcasting them to thousands of data brokers who monetize everything we say. Yes, our private DMs on many platforms are being read and analyzed. It doesn't have to be this way though. One of the top privacy tips that I usually give people is to ditch SMS and social media DMs and move their digital conversations to a private messaging app that will end-to-end encrypt their messages. But this means that the people you're communicating with need to be on these private platforms too. And getting people to make the switch isn't always easy. People constantly tell me, it's too hard, none of my friends are on there, I can't get anyone to use it. So in this video, I'll give you tips on how to convince people to switch to your private messaging app of choice. I got all these pointers from Michael Bazzell's podcast years ago, and he also details them in his awesome book, Extreme Privacy, which you should definitely read. They range from simple explanations to, if we're being honest, outright sneakiness.
I am very, very sneaky, sir.
I see that.
I've used every technique with pretty great success in my own life, to the point that almost every single person I communicate with now talks to me on Signal, which is my private messaging app of choice. So I know that these tips work. Your privacy hinges on your ability to convince others to also use these private messaging platforms. So let's learn how to get people to make the switch. You can start with a simple explanation about how easy the messaging app is to use. People sometimes don't want to use a new app because they think it will be complicated. So show your friends how easy it is to set up and how similar it is to whatever messaging app they currently use. Most messaging apps are gonna be pretty similar. For example, I got a couple of friends to install Signal the other day over dinner, and the process took seconds, and they could immediately start messaging me there. People are always surprised with how easy it is to get started, but sometimes they just don't want to try regardless. So then you might try telling them how non-private the current app they're using is. A little education on the insecurity of traditional SMS can go a long way. Your cell carrier can see your messages. They can be intercepted by criminals, monitored by authorities. In fact, it's illegal for telecom providers to encrypt their communication channels in almost all countries. Using SMS isn't good for your privacy. As far as social media DMs are concerned, do they really want their private conversations to be used to train AI models and advertising profiles? You can remind them that using social media DMs that aren't end-to-end encrypted just puts even more of their data in the hands of data brokers. By comparing these methods with your private messenger of choice, you can show them that better platforms that respect their users are out there. Now, your friends might not be concerned about these dangers for themselves, but you can remind them that your data is also being collected in these conversations, and you are concerned. So out of respect for you and the fact that you value your privacy and your personal information, they might consider switching apps. This is a tactic I used this month. A friend installed Signal, saw the list of people he was connected with who were already on Signal, but then said, well, I can already reach these people on other platforms. So I reminded him that if these people were also on Signal, they're probably privacy conscious. So by using less private platforms, he was forcing them to give up their data when they might prefer not to. These are what I'd call first-tier strategies. Not everyone is compelled by these arguments though, so now let's get sneakier. Bring on the second-tier strategies, starting with response delay. A great way to get someone to switch to something like Signal is to make it really annoying for them to contact you anywhere else. If someone sends you a message via SMS or social media DM, deliberately delay your response by at least 24 hours, the longer the better. When you finally respond, say something like, "Oh, sorry, I rarely check. Facebook anymore. Contact me on Signal if you need anything immediately, or whichever apps apply. This will make it clear that using such things as SMS or social media DMs will be inconvenient for them, and this may be impactful in getting them to switch. This also means that if they do message you on a more private platform, you need to respond immediately. It will reinforce good behavior with a reward, and it will show them that this private platform is going to be the fastest, most effective communication tool for them. This used to be a tactic I used, but now it genuinely is really annoying for people to try to get hold of me unless they use Signal. I think of it as just playing the part really well.
This is a true story. I work with Naomi, and she only ever immediately replies on Signal.
Well, all these people now have better privacy as a result. Another tier 2 tactic is what Michael Bazzell calls the missed connection. I'm not gonna lie, this is getting pretty sneaky, but your privacy is at stake, so do what you need to do to protect yourself. He describes how he had a close friend that downloaded Signal but never opened it, and insisted on sending sensitive messages over SMS, which was concerning. So Bazzell offered him front row tickets to his favorite band, knowing that he wouldn't check and respond in time. The friend was very regretful to miss the concert and began checking his Signal more often. It's a clever tactic that can be really useful as a last resort. One caveat though is if you choose this method, make sure you're willing to follow through on the off chance that they do check their messages in time. Finally, habits can be hard to change. If someone makes the switch to a more private app, you have to make it worthwhile for them by giving them a daily reward. One effective method is create a group chat with them and some mutual friends, and make it a fun place to hang out, where you engage them with daily content. Share old nostalgic photos, childhood memories, or any content that generates conversation and nostalgia. This not only encourages them to check the app, but it also fosters a sense of community and bonding. If the conversations amongst other members are fun, more people might be dragged into the app to see what they're missing out on. I managed to get a whole bunch of friends in my area to join Signal by regularly sharing fun photos from a coffee shop that we regularly attend. Now, some of these tactics may seem a little too sneaky, but you don't have to be dishonest. These can all be earnest engagements that are just strategic in how they incentivize behavior. Your goal is to protect your own privacy, and in the process, you can help those people you know protect their privacy too, whether they realize it's important or not. And perhaps there are some people in your life that you really can't get to make the switch. That's okay. You might have a couple of holdouts that you make allowances for on other platforms, but I bet that you can get the vast majority of people to switch, as it's something that I've personally done myself. And I'm actually okay with it if some people can't get hold of me. Private communication is really important to me. If I explain to someone that I work really hard to protect my data and they still insist on using platforms that force me to expose my data with no good reason, it can be very revealing. I don't need the people in my life to share my values, but I do hope that they can respect them. So while there are some people I will make allowances for on less secure platforms, there are others that I don't, and that's okay. You can decide for yourself what your priorities are. The last point I want to mention is that you should have patience with people, because there is such thing as app switching fatigue. You might not be the first person to try and convince someone to switch messaging apps, and they might have already been burned by switching to a new app only to have their contacts jump ship, and then they have to move again. Many people, especially older generations, have little patience with learning new apps if they don't perceive the current app they're using to be broken. So when you choose the private messenger that you want to use going forward, make sure that you really believe in its long-term viability. Convincing your friends and family to switch to a more private messaging app can be tough, but it's definitely not something you should give up on. It just requires a combination of education, strategic delays, and creative incentives. There are many ways to foster consistent habits and get people on a better path. Persistence and patience are key, and by encouraging better habits, you really are making a more private world. Creating a better future where privacy is valued all starts in our own backyard. NBTV is a non-profit research and media institute that helps people protect their digital rights. If you want to help us shift culture around privacy, visit nbtv.media/support to set up a monthly tax-deductible donation. And this t-shirt is one of the awesome new items that has dropped in our merch store. All purchases go towards helping support what we do. Thanks for helping us out. Did you recognize yourself in any of these tactics I mentioned? Yeah, I used them on you. But I bet it feels great to have better privacy.